Hey, Dr. J here with another episode of Janine's Justifiables. And I'm going to continue in on my Parenthood parenting series. And today I'm going to discuss the nature versus nurturing of parenting. All right, I'm going to try to keep those two straight. I believe probably around sixth grade science class, we learned about nature versus nurture, right? And there's a lot of research out in the world that talks about the differences between them. And what we know is that nature is something that happens naturally, right? There's something you have no control over, right? Nature wise, meaning you're born with brown eyes, right? Because a brown eye gene runs in your family, or you are maybe the people in your family are very thin, right? They got thin structures. I come from a family where, and I don't know if this is true or not, we big bone, right? We are big bone. Where we heavy set people. Or it could be a genetic issue, a further genetic issue where perhaps naturally or in your family a gene line is maybe there is a genetic issue where people are born with a missing digit. And when I say a missing digit, meaning instead of 5 fingers they only have 4 or something like that. If you ever seen something like that, that's a natural thing. There's nothing you can do. It comes through the genes. There's nothing you can do about that. But then there's the nature. Nurture. Sorry. That's why I said I'm going to try to keep them straight. Then there's the nurture, right? Nurture you do have control over. Nurture is how you do things, how you operate, your practices, your beliefs. That is nurture. And when it comes to parenting, and I hear this a lot from adoptive parents, and I hear it also a lot from kids who might not know the other side of their family, right? Where they might say, I don't know why I do this. I'm not really sure why I do this because nobody else around me does this, right? Because some things, like I said, comes through the genes, right? The child could have been, the other parent could be an addictive personality type, right? They could have a mental health disorder. They could have a physical health disorder, meaning maybe they got hypertension in their family or something like that, or high blood pressure or diabetes runs in their family, right? And so now this child is 12 years old and they are an adolescent diabetic, right? Where maybe the other side of the family is saying, diabetes don't run in my family, so I don't know where this came from, right? Or the parent might say, my child is doing this. My child is getting in trouble this. I noticed this about my child. I noticed my child does this. I noticed that perhaps my child might have an addictive personality. And we don't do that here, right? There's no drugs. There's no alcohol. There's no this, that, and the other. Where would this child learn this stuff? And a lot of the adopted parents say, I took this child home from the hospital, so they only know my household, and we don't do that here, right? That has never been an issue here. But now you find yourself with this child that is doing these things, and you're saying, what in the world is going on, right? And then the nurture is how you treat your child, what you put into them, what you teach them, what are the beliefs that you practice in your household, right? Because you want a decent human being when they grow up. You want them to be kind and respectful and loving and helpful to their community. I do anyway. And so there is the nature versus nurture. When I was doing my dissertation, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in a previous video, but when I was doing my dissertation, I did some research on epigenetics. You can go look it up. And basically, epigenetics is the science, the research of trauma being passed down from a parent to a child, right? Through the genes. And so they started to research with Holocaust survivors, and they wanted to determine, because they started seeing some things pop up, of the children of the Holocaust survivors had more trauma in their life or experienced trauma much heavily than the actual Holocaust survivors. And they were saying, how? They didn't even go through the Holocaust. So how they got more trauma than the parents that actually went through it? Because the gene of trauma was passed down, right? Our genes come from our parents, and it comes from their parents and their parents, and it's passed down. And so that's why you can have a child who has never met the other side of the family, right? Has never met this biological person, and still shows signs as though that other person raised them. It's so weird. But how we combat that, right? Because nature, nothing we can do about it. Nothing we can do about it. But if you see stuff popping up in your child, right, that you're saying, I didn't put that in them, we didn't do that around here, we don't, like, it could be a depressive disorder, it could be a mental health disorder, right? It's like, why is this child so depressed? We give them the best life, we got them in good schools, like, what is happening? It could be a nature thing. It could be something that was passed down from the parents, right? And a lot of times I hear from children and they say, I don't know why. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I think like that. I don't know. It could be the other parent that they don't even know, have never met this other parent, but they're doing stuff because it came through the genes. The way we combat that, as much as we possibly can, put good in them. Keep on exposing them to the good things. Keep on trying to give them the best life you can possibly give them. Show them love. Show them compassion. Show them understanding. Right? That's the only way you can combat that. And if it gets to the point where you need some outside help, go get them some outside help. Go get them some outside help. Right? Because nature, like I said, and I'm going to keep on saying it, we have no control over. Nurture, we have control over, right? And we want to put the best, the goodness in our children to combat the negative, right? Like I said, from day one, we all got a story. We all gonna have to tell our story one day, maybe, if anybody's listening. But if you can, try to halt that traumatic story as much as you possibly can. All right. Let me know what y'all think about that. Let me know what you think. If you got any questions, I can try to answer them. If not, I'll point you to the research, because y'all know me. I'm gonna look through a book. And just think about it. Think about what that really means, that nature versus nurture, and what you see popping up in your child, and you saying, man, where's this coming from? Because stuff come through the line. It actually does, and you have no control over it. All right. So I'll see y'all on the next go round.